Hey everybody, my name is Maxine. I'm the co-founder of now newly branded Spark, and I'm so excited to introduce you to our UX UI designer, Kristen.
Hey guys, Kristen here. Nice to see you all, and this is, I guess, well, I can't remember what number episode of the Bitspark show it is, but it's certainly episode 1 of the Spark show, which is exciting. You've probably seen me in the Telegram group talking every now and then, so now you can put a face to that name. So what we wanted to do on today's episode is just take you through a little bit of the rationale for some of the changes you're seeing to Spark and Zephyr and the look and feel of everything and how that ties in with the overall vision we have for the company, and also how that will help us grow the value of the Zephyr token as well.
Yeah, we really want to take this opportunity just to kind of show you guys what we're doing behind the scene, the mentalities behind it, and why we're doing what we're doing.
Exactly, yeah. So look, just by way of a little bit of an introduction about me personally, so you guys know more about me, I've been in Hong Kong since 2012. I was probably, I guess you could say, a very early adopter of cryptocurrency. I got into crypto, or Bitcoin specifically, in 2010. And between that and design, those are my two kind of passions in life. So when I came to Hong Kong in 2012, it was really about pursuing both of those. I set up the Bitcoin Hong Kong meetup group here. People within that community went on to set up the Bitcoin Association of Hong Kong. Long way of just saying that I've been around the space for a while and I'm passionate about it, and I think that it's going to do some really cool things.
Yeah, Kristen knows his stuff.
Thank you. I'd also describe myself as a design entrepreneur, so I really just like building businesses and using design as a tool to do that. I specialize working in what I would call emerging markets with emerging technologies, so using things like cryptocurrency in places that are generally fairly horrible to grow businesses. And I think that has a fairly strong relevance with remittances in the developing world as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And basically what Kristen's been doing is he's been doing a complete overview of Bitspark, including our rebranding, and speaking to two different types of audiences. So, you know, some of you might know us more about the Zephyr side of things, but we also have the actual company, which is the platform and mobile app. That was running way before Zephyr was, and it's all about making sure that we can translate what we want to our customers, and a part of that is making sure that the branding really speaks to them. And Kristen will be going through the rationale behind what we chose to do.
Exactly. Yeah, that's actually a good point to start on, is with the approach that we've taken to this. So some of you who are watching this, you probably have your own ideas about design. Long story short, I think that design is closer to engineering than it is to art. And so on that basis, what we're really doing with this is we're trying to design something that is very functional. So the brand for Bitspark, Spark, for Zephyr overall, needs to be functional. It needs to be able to explain what we are, how we work, what the benefit of all of this is to people in places like Pakistan, in Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, all of these different countries around the world where language is a real barrier, where internet connection speeds is a real barrier, and it needs to be able to do that without any of us having to be there to do that for us. So we do take a really functional approach to this. And the other thing I think that matters for this as well is that when we design not just the brand, but going into all of the product stuff that you'll see come out in the coming months, is that we're really designing for people more than users, right? And the relevance of that is that we're designing for the interactions that happen off screen just as much on screen as well. So having a beautiful UI, awesome, great. But if that beautiful UI can't load on a $50 Android smartphone in Peshawar,
exactly,
it's useless. Yeah. So we want to really counter that kind of stuff. Just digging into the process a little bit more as well. So because we wanted to have that functional benefit of being able to change the way people behave and do that work for us, we actually took a very active role in testing all of the work that we did with people. So with remitters, with money transfer operators, we actually hit the street. We did this with the team all together, and we actually tested a lot of the different initial ideas that we had, put it in front of people, and the main question we were really asking everyone was, what does this company do? Can you explain it to us? And we didn't give them any context. We just put different versions of the logo and the logotype, we'll talk more about this in a second, and tested it with people. And eventually we settled on a version which looks like this, which is where people could actually identify what we do.
Yeah, the responses were really interesting because everybody was really on point about what we were doing. And when we compared it to the existing logo that we had out, people were like, oh, well, I like the look and feel of it, but I don't naturally know what this company does. And what was really great was when we actually, hit the streets, people did know what we were doing. And that was kind of a really refreshing take, because we didn't have to explain what does bit mean or anything like that. People could just focus, as Kristen said, on the functionality of it. And it was very immediate as well.
exactly. And that brings us to probably the biggest change that I guess you'll notice, which is the name.
Yeah.
So one of the big lessons I think I've had over the years, and I think the guys have had this as well over the years, is that having to make people understand cryptocurrency to also get the benefit from it is a bit of a tricky battle, especially when you're operating in places like emerging markets. Very, very different cognitive landscape, very, very different understandings of technology. So what we want to do with this is actually go, well, look, you don't have to understand the crypto angle to be able to use this. If you can, great. There's a whole layer of things we have going on for that vis-a-vis the Zephyr token. But if you just want to send money between two countries, you don't have to know a thing about crypto. You can still use this and benefit from what crypto does without having to understand it. Yeah. And that's also tied up in the analogy that we're using with this as well. So one of the lessons I've had over the years also is that if you want to make something understandable and more usable for people, analogies translate far better than language, right? So being able to have something like this visual device where we have the Spark and being able to send money, and also we're sending Sparks being the, like, I guess you could say, user-friendly term of referring to Zephyr. That's a fairly strong analogy that carries between a lot of the different markets that we operate in. That means that people can infer what to do. They can kind of manage their own expectations a little bit, which means that we have to spend less time selling, less time supporting them as customers, and less time managing them as users.
Yeah, and something really interesting, and what I've been seeing in our chat groups and stuff like that is the fact that people are going, okay, well, does that mean that Zephyr is now Sparks? And this is a really interesting conversation to have, because technically we are servicing two types of customers. We have the crypto side, and then we have the remitters and the business people who, quite frankly, do not care about cryptocurrency, even though they like to use it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the reason why we changed it to Sparks for those customers is that it's better for their narrative of how to understand exactly what we do, and it translates it much easier for them.
Yeah, so it's like almost like if you send money, you're earning Sparks. You look at, like, even here in Hong Kong, the way that Filipinos operate, there are endless types of secondary markets that they create for themselves, where they will, trade and sell all sorts of other things to be able to kind of create a safety net for themselves. So when we talk about Sparks, that fits directly into that narrative, which is cool. Well, that brings us to the logo and the logotype too. So we have some stickers that we made up here of the logo. But yeah, effectively this is about sending money, which is why we have the coin behind, and also the S there for Sparks, the spark moving towards the money.
Yeah.
Very literally describing it for you all there. Talking about the colour system and the typographic system as well. So the colours that we have chosen, there's two reasons for this, right? So one is that colour blindness is something that matters. So we do plan on building, a $1 billion company at least, and that means that we are going to be dealing with many, many users, many, many customers. Some of them will have terrible eyesight. We need to counter for those people as well, or factor those people in. So these colours will do that. Secondarily, these colours are kind of like Western Union, and I kind of like messing with Western Union a little bit, which is fun. But the third reason also, actually, a little bit more seriously, is that the 5 different colours we have can actually be used for both types of audiences. So for money transfer operators, we have a palette range which is a little bit more serious, a little bit more adult. For remitters, the other end of the spectrum is a little bit more warm, a little bit more playful, which kind of maps to the expectations that both customer types bring to this. Typographically, we are using a type system called Noto Sans, which is actually a Google project. The reason we are using this is A, that it is web-based, B, it's open sourced, and C, it actually has pretty much every language on the planet built into it. Google's been working on making fonts that work in every language for quite a while. This is one of the first examples of that. So we wanted a font system that would actually work everywhere.
Yeah, it's one of those really interesting things where we do not have to sacrifice, having like a beautiful font that people understand, and it can be translated into all these different languages worldwide. So it really was kind of like the perfect font, and I like that it's not too much of a deviation from our last font, but it kind of just, functionally it really answers what we need.
Exactly. Yeah. It's doing the job for us. So guys, look, that's kind of the main overview. Looking ahead, you can expect to see a lot of changes across everything that we have now. You've seen the site change. We will share more of the actual branding material for you. You could probably check the link in the description below the video, I expect, as well. We'll share some of that stuff with you there. In time, Sendy will be updated. The DEX is being developed. The platform will be redesigned to match this visually and functionally as well. And you can just expect to see everything change visually, and that will have follow-on benefits through to the business as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Just share and like this, and let us know what your thoughts are, and we will give you more updates soon.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
See ya.